Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Dark Anime Robin. In this video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing the S.H. Monsterarts Rathalos from the Monster Hunter video game series. And this set is manufactured by Bandai Tamashii Nation. Let's first check out the details we can see from this box. And as you see on the front picture here, we have the main figure, the picture itself, a dragon-like creature with flame coming out of its mouth and like a scorpion-like tail. On the top here, we just have a picture of Rathalos again from another angle. And same thing on this side. And this side as well, but what's interesting is on the back, so we have some transparency here with that's in the claw mark pattern. But you can barely see what's inside there. Maybe like the Rathalos' head and some parts of its wings. And again, another picture of Rathalos from another angle. And several pictures here down here, basically showing us like many S.H. Monsterarts or S.H. Figuarts action figure. This one will be capable of making all kinds of poses because it's very articulated. We have, and apparently it's gonna come with some stands and support beam that can hold the figure up, so it can do like a flying pose or landing on the ground kind of pose. And that seemed to be the general feature for this figure, like all S.H. Monsterarts and S.H. Figuarts. And now let's get the dragon out of the box. So here we have the whole set in this plastic case here. And looks like there's another base here. So the main figure is in this case, and in this plate here we have like part of the wings and the base for the figure, and these are like the pieces to the base so they can hold the figure, and this is the fire effect part, obviously to put in the jars of the Rathalos figure arts. Now we have this film here. It's typical in Tamashii Nation to have this something like this to cover up the S.H. Figuarts or the S.H. Monsterarts figures, so it can be shown that the figures are brand new when they first came out of the case. And here we have more pieces to the wings. And here we have the two larger pieces of the wings, and here's also an instruction manual included inside the box. So let's see how we can set up the figure. So at the beginning, it looks like just before, you just simply have to put the fire effect part inside Rathalos jar, and this is for setting up the base. So the Rathalos figure can be placed upon it. And it looks like you can do all this, set all this up without attaching the wing pieces on. And now here, how you set up the wings, looks like you flip it open, and then you just put the small piece on the lower side of the wing and the large piece on the upper section. And with a little adjustment to the support parts on the display stand, or different interchangeable parts, you can set Rathalos up like in the flying pose. And that's it. Let me first give everyone a close look at this Rathalos Monsterarts figure. As you can see, it's crafted very nicely, as if you have like the real video game monster character brought with three-dimensional space here. And the eyes, it also looks like it's almost like it's glowing back at you. And very nice wings. It's like it's a actual reptilian scales here. We got the scorpion-like tail on here. Same thing. And as you saw from the instruction manual, wings can open up. And let's check out on this side. And looks like I just found out the first possible flaw with the figure, that it's somewhat common in a lot of Monsterarts figure that some of the parts, because due to the lots of articulation set up, there are many joints and they can be kind of loose if you try to move them too hard. And as you can see, on the side is also crafted very nicely. It's like a realistic monster or dragon here. Very good looking talons. Now let's check out the articulation of this figure. So the neck feels very flexible. So Rathalos here can look down and up easily, and it can open up its jar. Unfortunately, not too widely, at least it's enough so it can show its teeth. And its tail, as well as its torso and back, feels very flexible and articulated. You can bend down to set up the pose you saw from the box. And its feet, it's very much like the eagle's talons here. There's a lot of articulation here as well, although you have to be careful, otherwise you can end up dislocating some parts like this. And now let me first put it back. There we go, now it's back together. And so you can see the legs is also very articulated. This will help you adjust the poses of Rathalos as you put it on different kind of posture, whether it's like straight up on like a ground form or land form, or when you want it to take a flight. You can bend its body a little forward, as well as really straighten up. So again, it helps with, like, if you want to put it, whether when it's on the ground or when it's doing a flying pose. So, and finally, in the wings, you can open it up and putting the pieces you saw before, the wing pieces you saw before, those are apparently effectively like effect parts in order to show when the wings are like closed up or when they are like opened up. So whenever you want to have Rathalos do this kind of ground mode, use this when the wings are closed, and whenever you wanted to take the flying pose, when you have to open up the wings, that's when you apply those wing pieces as effect parts to make like the wings are fully expanded. And now let's set up the display stand so we can put the Rathalos Monsterarts on it. Now here we have the pieces for the stands for Rathalos ground mode display. So now I'm gonna put them together. So these two are just gonna be on the side. And, well, this support beam is gonna be here on the front. We have to twist this little support arm a bit. And finally, we just got to literally set Rathalos on this support, this part here. The wings is to be like secure in place like this. go. There's another way to utilize these support arms. You don't have to use them to hold the wings. You can just put them like under the wings, so they'll be like supported. Although, yeah, like this. There, that may be much better. Finally, we have this fire breath effect part to apply to the Rathalos jaw here. Now, before you put in, you have to check the direction of the flames. It's like it's a one that's it's like a very small C shape, actually V shape. There we go. Under good lighting, it'll look like Rathalos' mouth is actually burning and he's actually spewing out fire. Now we're done with Rathalos on the ground. Let's take him to the air and start put on his flying pose. First, I would like everyone to take a look at Rathalos' wings one more time in this closed form from the up. And now let's start attach the wing pieces on. So we have to open up the wings here. And apparently this part has to be detached. And then reattach with a large piece here. And also replace this part with the bigger piece. See how the closed wings would look different from the opened up one piece. Now let's do the same over here. go. Yes. Then here. There we go. So here we go. This is how Rathalos' wings supposed to look like once fully opened. And now let's set up the stand so we can keep Rathalos like this in the air. Once again, this is the way the stand is set up to pose Rathalos in the ground mode. And now we just need to make a little change and then attach these two parts on so it can be instead used for Rathalos to pose in a flying form. First, I have to take out this part, and these clamps will now face up. And this support beam goes up here. And this piece goes on here. And this one goes over here. This becomes the holder for the tails, and this is like to hold Rathalos back, and these will be support and holding piece for the wings. And now we just have to place Rathalos onto this stand. Now the main trick is that you have to bend down Rathalos' torso and to expose this space in his back, and then slide the support piece onto that part, and then put the wings in place onto a clamp here. And you just land the tail onto this part on the base, and after that it's just a matter of kind of set up the wings the way you wanted. So now that's basically it. Rathalos flying with his wings all open. And there's something I want to show everyone again. So earlier I was showing on the articulation of Rathalos' jaws here, and it seems I couldn't open very wide, but apparently the problem was the throat section. Apparently it got in the way of the jars. You kind of have to try to get them aligned in to make sure the throat doesn't get in the way. And now with that problem solved, Rathalos' jaw can open really wide like this. And it's now much easier to put in the fire effect parts. So in this setup, you can adjust the articulation in the wings, so the wing span pose can look a little differently, or you can adjust the legs to lower, so it be much like Rathalos is trying to fly upward, or you can lift the legs up and raise the feet and the talons, so it'll be looking like the eagle trying to snatch its prey from the air or from the water. With that, we have covered all the basic feature of this set. And let's talk about the pros and cons for this figure. And I'll start with the cons. So which is that this figure, while very articulated, it's really hard to do any actual pose because most of its joints, while flexible, it can be kind of fragile, as you saw before, how the feet can simply be pulled apart when you try to adjust its poses. And it's the same thing for the wings as well. As you try to move them, it's very easy to just pull them off the joints, but and so it makes its posability and display capability kind of tricky to work with. And without the stand to hold it, it's very kind of difficult for this figure to actually function, whether to pose in the ground mode with the wings closed up, or this flying form. Both setup really kind of needs this stand. Although it's possible you can do the ground pose without the stand, it's just not exactly gonna be as steady. Therefore, unlike the Godzilla Monsterarts, it's very tricky, or maybe even highly unlikely that this figure can be used to make battle poses and display with other Monsterarts or monster figures. But on the other hand, even if we can only display by itself, as you can see in both forms, it's really well. And just like all Monsterarts, this figure is crafted very nicely. And again, the eyes under good lighting is like the eyes really burning bright here. And even though it can be tricky to work with, the interchangeable pieces of the wings make Rathalos closed up and opened up wings appear very realistic and very great looking. So I would argue, despite any weakness or also the difficulty on how to operate them, the wings are one of the best features in this figure. So this set should make a great collectible to any Monster Hunter fans, or if you're a collector who love dragon figures, this would be really great to be put on in your collection for display purposes. This concludes my review for this set. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to my channel. And please check out other videos in my channel. And if you have any question, please leave them in the comment section. I will answer with the best of my knowledge and ability.